This fall, the final in-universe Magic the Gathering set of 2026 is poised to break the very universe of Magic the Gathering. But how? And in what way? Well, we don't really know yet. Reality Fracture is truly one of the most mysterious Magic sets in quite some time. Very little information about the set has yet been shared by Wizards of the Coast, but what they have shared so far is intriguing enough to have sent the Magic community into wild speculation. The initial, biggest speculation would be that this is the set where universes beyond characters are at last brought into the Magic universe. Captain James T. Kirk hoisting loot onto his shoulders in a corporate prophet's fever dream. This theory picked up so much steam that Wizards had to say, more than once, that no, they are not doing that. Not yet, anyway. They didn't say yet, but at this point I just assume there's an implied yet at the end of every declaration of what they say they aren't doing. Here's what we do know for sure. Reality Fracture is the capstone to the current metronome arc. You did notice we've been in a story arc, right? Well, we have. And we are nearly at the end of it. Just 2 sets remain, Secrets of Strixhaven and Reality Fracture. Reality Fracture is to the Metronome arc what March of the Machines was to the Phyrexian arc and War of the Spark was to the Bolas arc. It will conclude the 3-year story that began with the Omen Path mini-arc, which ran from Wilds of Eldraine through Thunder Junction, which followed the adventures of Kellen, Oko's son. The subsequent mini-arc was the Dragonstorm arc that began with Bloomburrow and concluded with Tarkir Dragonstorm. The third, final, still unnamed mini-arc began with Edge of Eternities. Despite the fact that Edge came out well over 6 months ago, we only got the second installment in this arc last January with Lorwyn Eclipsed. Thank you, Universes Beyond. WotC has shared a few other hints about what Reality Fracture will entail. We know there will be a villain that you'd have to see to believe. We know that R&D figured out how to do something that they didn't think they could physically do. And finally, that whatever this thing they figured out how to do is, it will be evident the moment a player opens even a single pack of Reality Fracture. Apart from that, there's really not much to go on. We know that Jace has a plan to manipulate the multiverse to fix all the problems caused by the last several interplanar conflicts. Liliana came face to face with a white-aligned version of herself, and Ral is now a new teacher on Strixhaven, affiliated with, of all things, Silverquill, the White and Black House, a stark departure from his essential blue and red identity for the entire time we've known him. He's also acting strange, abandoning students for dead in an incredibly out-of-character move for the guy whose inner animal was apparently a playful otter. Everything beyond this is pure speculation. We really don't know what will happen in Reality Fracture, except that, well, reality will fracture. But what do I think? Well, I think Reality Fracture will be chaos. Quite literally. We will see the Magic multiverse both in story and in mechanics, not as it is, but as it could have been, and what it could yet become. I predict there are going to be more than just mind-bending designs. I think we're going to see spells shifted into other colors, familiar characters depicted in unfamiliar ways. If all this sounds familiar, then you're probably in your 40s, but for the rest of you, I'm describing a very old set that you may not have been around for, and that set is Planar Chaos. I believe that Reality Fracture will be, for all intents and purposes, Planar Chaos 2. Allow me to explain. Now, before we begin with Reality Fracture and Planar Chaos, there's shadow more thing I need to discuss. I'm sorry, one more thing that I want to Sorry, just give me a minute. I think I just need to take a little nap. Lorwyn. Goat nap. Goats? Merfolk. Turtles. Beavers. Beavers. Dream beavers. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry about that. I didn't realize how tired I was. But keeping up with all of these new Magic sets can be exhausting if you're not getting a full night's rest. Luckily, there are great options to help with that, like today's sponsor, Helix Sleep. Helix offers a wide selection of high-quality mattresses and bedding accessories designed to ensure that you're getting a good night's sleep. And it just so happens that the month of March is National Sleep Awareness Month, which means now is the perfect time to think about upgrading your current mattress. A good supportive mattress directly correlates to deeper, more restful sleep, which means you'll be waking up happier and sharper. With over 20 different mattresses to choose from, Helix has the perfect fit for you. And don't worry about being overwhelmed by choices. With Helix's Sleep Quiz, you'll be matched with the perfect model. All you need to do is answer a few easy questions about how you like to sleep, and Helix will take it from there. Plus, with their Happy with Helix guarantee, returning or exchanging your new mattress is a breeze. They even have a great selection of mattress toppers if you're looking to upgrade your current mattress without replacing it entirely. Perfect for everyone on a budget. So if you're tired of being a slumbering walker and think that now's the best time to make a crib swap, Helix is here for you. Just visit www.helix.com/Tolarian to take advantage of their March Madness sale and get 20% off site-wide. Link in this video description or just scan the QR code. And thank you, Helix, for sponsoring. Gosh, Lorwyn was a dream come true, wasn't it? We've even got a merfolk that's seeing Legacy play. But we're here to talk about what may be coming in Reality Fracture, and for that, I need to dream back to 2007 and Planar Chaos. What was Planar Chaos? Planar Chaos, released in early 2007, was the second set in the Time Spiral block. Time Spiral is considered the most experimental and rule-breaking block in the history of Magic the Gathering, at least outside of an unset, and Planar Chaos is a strong contender for the most experimental set within its block. While its predecessor, Time Spiral, focused on the past, and its successor, Future Sight, explored potential futures, Planar Chaos was positioned firmly in the present. Or rather, in presence, plural. Planar Chaos was a depiction of what Magic could look like. It sought the boundaries of the color pie, and maybe even poked a toe between them. White counter magic, green card draw, red bounce spells, and black mind controls lived alongside mono blue ramp, discard, ability stripping, and power and toughness swaps. In other words, blue got to do what the other colors normally do, while all the other colors got a shot at what had been entirely blue's domain. That's just a joke, by the way. In reality, every color got to try out at least one thing from each other color. The clearest example of this was with the plane-shifted cards. 9 well-known cards in each color from throughout Magic history, all 15 years of it at the time of the set's release, and given to whichever other color that could conceivably be allowed to do what the original card did. Put yourself in the shoes of a Magic player in 2007. Just 2 years ago, the game redefined what all 10 of its color pairs looked like in the hugely popular original Ravnica block. 4 years ago, innovation to colorless artifacts led to the creation of the equipment subtype, which immediately became a staple of the game's design. You thought you understood what each color could do, but now you're looking at the 165 cards in this crazy new Planar Chaos set and having your mind blown by Giant Growth in red, Curiosity in green, Serra Angel in blue. White received its first true counterspell, as the cheeky blue counter Force Spike turned into Mana Tithe. Green got its first non-creature-based card draw as Concentrate turned into Harmonize. That's right, the color green's commander dominance can be traced directly back to Planar Chaos. Take Wrath of God, the most iconic board wipe in Magic history, dating all the way back to Alpha. In 7th edition, the card received what would become its most recognizable art, the white sun exploding outward painted by Kev Walker. Now imagine you're there in 2007. You open a pack of Planar Chaos and look upon Kev Walker's newest masterpiece, the direct inverse of Wrath of God. A heavy black sun pulling all life into its endless void. Eternal damnation. Can you imagine how you'd feel holding that card in your hands? Planar Chaos wasn't just Magic the Gathering's version of Marvel's What If. It was a love letter to Magic, using the parameters of the game's unique color pie system to create a mind-bending masterpiece. For fans of Magic's story, Planar Chaos offered twists to the game's lore. Villains like Braids and Krovax color-shifted and reimagined as protagonists, while the hero Miri suffered the opposite fate. The white Achroma, Angel of Wrath, became the red Achroma, Angel of Fury, a shift that would even have in-game consequences, as the furious Achroma would go on to replace her wrathful alter ego as the premier reanimator target. You could also cheat her into play by morphing her for 3, and then auto-flipping her with momentary blink. First printed in Planar Chaos's predecessor, Time Spiral. Looking back at Planar Chaos really makes me long for those early days of Magic, the days where it was easy to become a fan of Magic's rich lore, art, and world building, where you continuously saw the thing that you love referenced and iterated upon in exciting, refreshing ways. Magic the Gathering is constantly changing and evolving. It's a natural part of the game. Nothing stays the same. Even in those first 15 years, Magic rarely took the time to look back or even look around at what it was, what it could be. Planar Chaos and the Time Spiral block as a whole did precisely that. It took stock of what the game had already accomplished, and it hinted at the boundless reaches still left to explore. If Reality Fracture really is a redux of Planar Chaos, then the set will have a lot to live up to. The game looks a lot different now than it did back then. So what would a Planar Chaos set look like today? And what does that suggest about what Reality Fracture might be? If they were to do Planar Chaos in 2026, I imagine it would look very different from the original 2007 version. While Magic the Gathering is still Magic the Gathering, the game is exponentially more complex today than it was at the time of Planar Chaos's release. For one thing, at the time of Planar Chaos's release, there were only about 9,000 unique cards in all of Magic. Today there are, wait for it, 30,000. Many of what were considered innovations in the original Planar Chaos are now basic tenets of the game's design. In the past 19 years, Magic has seen the introduction of 3 new card types: Planeswalker, Kindred, and Battle. It's seen countless new mechanics, such as sagas, adventures, transforming cards, and rooms. The list goes on and on. We've had sets in the Wild West, sets in the 80s, sets in space, heck, sets from universes beyond. It's a lot harder to do something truly brand new nowadays. Even universes beyond designs can sometimes just feel like, normal Magic cards. All of this is to say, designing a set that feels anywhere close to how Planar Chaos felt in 2007 seems impossible, and yet in 2006, a set like Planar Chaos would have felt impossible as well. The very nature of the set we're talking about here is one that pushes past the bounds of your imagination before you've seen it. But that doesn't mean I can't try to imagine it anyway, so here's what I think Reality Fracture will look like, or Planar Chaos 2 might be. Now, before I talk about what I think Reality Fracture will be, I do want to briefly talk about what I believe it won't be. We already know that the introduction of Universes Beyond characters into our Universes Within is not going to happen, but what else will this set not be? First of all, there is not going to be a new color. Sorry to those wishing for purple or orange mana. We may see an expansion of what our existing colors can do, the same way we did with Planar Chaos, but we will not see any cards that are purple or orange or anything else like that. After all, Magic already has a 6th color, colorless. Take your basic wastes and be happy. I also don't think we're going to see the entire set consist of double-faced cards, as I've seen some people speculate. Mark Rosewater already said definitively that this idea wouldn't work. They considered it for Lorwyn Eclipsed before discarding it entirely, and I don't think that they would come out and say, this was a bad idea, only to turn around and do it with Reality Fracture. We could see them incorporate double-faced cards more readily than they have in the past, however. Up to now, double-faced cards have only appeared in a single slot in the back of a pack due to logistical issues with their printers. Perhaps they found a way, for instance, to make every creature a double-faced card or every legendary. Double-faced cards would certainly be a great way to depict the same character or event in two separate realities. I would be surprised if we didn't get any double-faced cards in the set, and I would not be remotely surprised to see a lot more for this one than we normally do. One thing we are virtually guaranteed to see is color-shifted characters. We already know about mono-white Liliana in the story, but who exactly is she? Perhaps it's the version of Lily who never met the Raven Man, a version of the character who remained dedicated to helping the living rather than raising the dead. There's also this Silver Quill Ral, of course. Did he get swapped out with an alternate reality self who is now trapped in the other version of the multiverse? And who else will we see color swapped? Red Jace, Blue Chandra, 5-color Ugin, and Ashiok who's actually done the work and gone to therapy? I would love to see another set of the plane-shifted cards. Mana Leak in white, Wall of Omens in blue, Strangle in black, Snapcaster Mage in red, Zombify in green. And I would love to see these cards inspire future designs, redefining what their colors are allowed to do. Another possibility is sagas depicting familiar events playing out differently in the alternate timeline. The Brothers' War where it was Urza who fell to Phyrexia instead of Mishra, for instance. A version of Bolas who died during the Great Mending instead of Jeska. For that matter, a Planeswalker card for Jeska from a reality where she didn't have to die to mend Dominaria. There are truly endless possibilities for alternate timelines that would intersect with the main Magic timeline in thrilling ways. The prediction I feel most confident in is that Nicol Bolas, freed from the meditation realm during the events of Tarkir Dragonstorm, will have to step up to save the multiverse from Jace's maniacal plan to reshape the entire multiverse in his image. I really love the idea of Nicol Bolas being the hero saving us from Jace. This would just be such an awesome role reversal and a fitting homage to the Gatewatch arc, which frankly I always felt was pretty flat and derivative relative to what the Magic story used to be. Now, it was just my opinion at the time, but I always felt that we never needed a Magic the Gathering version of the Avengers, nor do we need an actual Marvel's Avengers in Magic the Gathering, though that ship has long since sailed. There's also the matter of the aspect that Rosewater said the design team didn't think was possible. He said that this thing, whatever it is, was immediately evident from opening a single pack. What could that be? Maybe it's a pile of double-faced cards, but I have higher hopes. What if Reality Fracture contains 2 packs? As in one set of commons, uncommons, and a rare, then maybe a token to serve as divider between the packs, and then you get your second pack, another set of commons, uncommons, and a rare that are all corresponding to the opposite of what appeared in the first half of the pack from the alternate reality. Imagine if you play a game of Sealed and both players cast their own versions of the Brothers' War. Perhaps one that depicts Mishra as victor, and one depicting what really happened in our universe. Maybe there's a classic Azurius Teferi and a more chaotic Rakdos version of him, not just within the same set, but within the same pack. Whatever happens, I really hope to see an end to Omen Paths and a return to Planeswalkers as the means of traveling between planes rather than this emphasis on legendary creatures walking through Omen Paths. And while we're at it, could we maybe sometimes see the return of 2 set blocks? Not all the time, and not a full year-long set block. Watch the video, actually listen to what I'm saying in the video, but every now and then maybe we could have a 2 set block, maybe, as a treat? Regardless, if Wizards hopes to replicate the kind of impact Planar Chaos had in 2007 for Magic today, the set cannot simply swap the mana symbols and mechanics of well-known characters. It has to dig deeper. It must literally swap the very foundations of what we understand as Magic the Gathering. It would need to take the innovations of the last 19 years, battles, sagas, MDFCs, and use them to represent a broken multiverse, perhaps a universe where card types themselves are as unstable as the colors were in 2007. If Reality Fracture truly is Magic's modern take on Planar Chaos, then Wizards of the Coast has the chance to deliver something truly special to its player base. Something we could still be talking about 20 years from now. Planar Chaos isn't just another take on color expression. It made players feel rewarded for their loyalty to the game. It took cards that players loved, cards that they had played with hundreds of times, and turned those cards on their head. It gave us new iconic cards like Damnation, and made the Wrath of Gods of the past even more beautiful by contrast. A reality fracture that simply reshuffles card mechanics or swaps mana costs would be a pale imitation, but a reality fracture that treats the modern innovations, the recent wins, the beloved cards of a new generation with the same respect as Planar Chaos did could be something genuinely special. And this is the sort of thing sorely needed in an era of Magic beset upon at all sides by outside IP, where community trust in the motivations of the company that makes their favorite game is at an all-time low. Planar Chaos was a love letter to Magic fans. Reality Fracture has the chance to be the same, but for a new generation of fans who have followed Magic across the fairy tales of Eldraine, the deserts of Thunder Junction, the warring battlefields of Tarkir, and even into outer space with Edge of Eternities. With an already fragmented game that's recently become rife with anachronistic flavor, maybe, just maybe, chaos that springs from a fractured reality is exactly what Magic the Gathering needs to bring us all back together. But of course, those are just my thoughts and my predictions for Reality Fracture, and now I want to hear from you. What do you think this set is going to be? What do you think we're going to see in terms of the story, in terms of the card mechanics? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, we had a Reality Fracture of our own on Shuffle Up and Play where Yu-Gi-Oh! Players came to play Commander with us. Watch the episode where Simo, MBT, and Gage sit down to play Commander with me, the Professor. It's a kind of Planar Chaos. Planar Chaos, Planar Chaos. It's chaos, and it's here if you click on the I or linked in this video's description.
Al pròxim episodi de Shuffle Up and Play.
Welcome to the 100th episode of Shuffle Up and Play, and I could think of no one that I would want to play with more than just fans of the shows.
Is that why we're playing, 100 card decks and all, right?
Boy, you're clever. You should have a YouTube channel. You're so smart and clever.
Well, if they ever let me out of this basement, I might be able to work on my own. But remember, I have wind energy at my disposal.
Yeah. No, I'm not worried about that.
We want Prof to attack with that just to see what happens.
Double whenever a creature I control deals combat damage to a player, I can draw a card. That's the dynamic duo.
Understood. Shout out to piracy.
So who gonna let me hit?